The former leader of Myanmar, Aung San Suu Kyi, who was ousted from power in a military coup earlier this year, has been sentenced to 4 years in prison. A spokesman for the military-backed government said she was found guilty of inciting unrest and violating COVID restrictions during last year's election campaign. It's the first in a series of verdicts she's facing that could see her be sent to prison for the rest of her life. Let's talk to our correspondent Jonathan Head, who is in the Thai capital, Bangkok. Tell us, as far as you know, what happened.
Well, we don't know much, of course, because the case took place behind closed doors. All the trials have. No one's outside has been allowed. And even her lawyers are barred from talking to the media about what happens. So all we have is the verdict. We don't know exactly what evidence was given, what the strength of these cases were. In a sense, none of that really matters. The military government, which deposed Aung San Suu Kyi back in February, has piled on one charge after another, ranging from the serious, there are 6 charges of corruption alleged against her, to the ridiculous, claiming that the walkie-talkies her security guards used in her home were unlicensed and illegally imported. What's important is these are the first 2 convictions. They officially put her in prison or possibly under house arrest. We don't know where she's going to be kept for 4 years. And the other charges that are coming could pile on sentences going up to a total of 100 years. She's now in her mid-70s, so realistically, you know, this looks like a judicial method of ending any chance of a future political career. You should also bear in mind, I mean, the whole process that she's been put through has been dismissed as completely farcical by human rights groups. There's been not even a semblance of normal judicial process, but that it is quite common in Myanmar for people to be given very savage sentences, people who are political opponents, and then only to serve a few years, and then things change and suddenly they're out again. So we don't really know what Aung San Suu Kyi's future is. She's still enormously popular. But for the moment, by whatever standards the military is applying, she has these 2 criminal sentences applied against her, and we would expect her to be out of sight and locked up for some time yet.
And the motivation from the military government to do that is just to get her out of the picture, is that it?
Well, they've got her out of the picture because they've locked her away. I mean, we understand she's living with just a couple of trusted aides and her much-loved dog in a small home. Some of the military says she's comfortable, her health seems to be fine, but nobody has seen her since February. What's interesting is why they go through this process. I mean, no one outside the immediate military circles in Myanmar attaches any credibility whatsoever to this process that Aung San Suu Kyi is going through. I mean, it is really quite ludicrous to describe it as a trial, and yet it clearly matters to the military men running Myanmar that at least they're going through the formality of putting her through a trial and putting sentences against her. Everything in the end will be up for negotiations. This is a military government that has inflicted a disaster on the country. There is a brewing war inside the country with people more and more taking up arms against it. In the end, however Myanmar's conflict is settled, probably Aung San Suu Kyi will have to be a part of that, whatever sentences they give her.
Thank you very much, Jonathan. Jonathan Head reporting.